let's talk about the new structure on mGear and the API. So basically for 3.0 has been a big refactor on how mGear is structured, and also many of the models have been renamed or cleaned up to have a more proper naming. It's not everything changed, but yeah, it's a big change. So you are warned that if you are using mGear for your tools and you change to the next release 3.0, you will need to refactor. That's the full point release. Means it breaks many of the backwards compatibility, and that's the trade-off. So basically, before we were using a repository called mGear. Now each of the main tools of mGear comes in its separate repository. So you can see here is the shifter, and also we have the shifter, the classic components, and basically this is the default components that comes with mGear. But in the future, maybe we have other repositories that have components, like for instance, I was thinking to make ones that like shifter vanilla nodes components. So basically components that doesn't need the mGear custom solvers to work. They are not done yet, and I don't know if it will happen in anytime soon, but yeah, this kind of thing. So let's say you have your own studio, you do your own components, or maybe you have a separate repository for your components. So that's the way it works. And of course we have here all the forks that we do from other open source initiatives like the WaveDriver and the GreenMyK or the math nodes from Sergey. So you can see here all the structure is split apart in each repository for better organization. So we have two main repositories for the distribution. So one is the mGear distribution, and the other is the core. The core is obviously is the one that should be included in any of there. So if you work in a big studio, maybe you want to use let's say you want to use Crank, but you don't want to use Shifter. So probably you can just grab the mGear core, get the Crank repository, and create your own distribution. As long as both of these repositories are on your Python path, the tool should be working. So you always need the mGear core to rely on there. And then we have the mGear distribution. This one is the one that is the official distribution. So it handles the organization and the arrangement for the like, let's say, quotes there, the default mGear distribution. Again, that's not doesn't need to be the default. It's just the one that we package and we provide as a default. So basically what it does is just giving some organization to these repositories and create the structure. So that's the one that you download normally when you get the release. And it's this one here, this folder that I have open here. So we have the platforms, that it's the plugins. So for instance, if we go here, so we have the CV Graph, the format, the GreenMyK, the WaveDriver, and the mGear solvers. They are not all compiled for all versions. They are all available for Windows, but maybe you miss some of them on OS or Linux, so you have to compile by yourself. That's the platforms one, and then we have the scripts. That is where probably if you are using mGear for something else on your pipeline, you're gonna see the changes. So here's the folder with the new structure that we provide as a default, and you can see the core is here. Then we have anim bits, the Crank, Flex, rig bits, shifter. The components are separated, simple rig, and synaptic, and so on. So that's how it works. The new, and of course we have here the vendoring one. So we have the Qt and the QJSON model. So that's the models that we vendor indeed. Well, all the forks that we do, and the plugins is also like vendoring, but yeah, this is the Python files that we vendor here. So yeah, take care with that. And let's say on core, I think it almost is the same. We didn't change anything here. And on shifter was some not only refactoring the structure, but also the naming. So it's more like a PEP8, sorry, compliant on this shifter, but for instance, if we go for read bits, it's not. We're still using a mix case and so on. Okay, so that's it for the IPA new structure. Remember, if you have any question or you want to comment something, you can use the mGear forums for talk with us. Okay, see you next video. Bye bye.